Hi, I'm Ed Finn and I'm continuing my journey across beautiful Northern Ireland, the land of a giant spirit. Right on your doorstep, there are world-class attractions, rugged rural landscapes, majestic scenery and untouched beauty. Northern Ireland has a giant welcome waiting for you. This week's programme takes me to the newly opened Game of Thrones studio tour at the Linen Mill Studios in Banbridge. I'll see how the world's greatest TV series was created and brought to life on screen. I walk the St. Patricks Camino way from Armagh to medieval Downpatrick. I meet dinosaurs and find the lost planet at the adrenaline-packed W5 in Belfast. And I become a master mariner as I leave land behind and set sail across Belfast Lough to Carrickfergus. Join me as I continue to embrace the giant spirit of Northern Ireland. As a huge Game of Thrones fan, I couldn't wait to visit the newly opened Game of Thrones studio tour at Banbridge. For 10 years, HBO and Game of Thrones made Northern Ireland their home. At over 100,000 square feet, the interactive experience reveals the world of Westeros like never before, giving fans and visitors the chance to explore the famous sets of King's Landing, Winterfell, Dragonstone, The Wall and beyond.
Welcome, Ed, to the newly open Game of Thrones studio tour. You're one of the first tranche of people we've brought behind the scenes and shown you how the making of the Game of Thrones production was put together. What do you think?
Well, Brad, I have to say, right, I'm more than impressed. It was much more than I thought. I mean, I am a Game of Thrones fan. I have been to loads of the locations and I didn't want to leave and I loved it. And even some of the stuff is so lifelike, right? I mean, you know, the dragon's head, the scale, you feel you're there. So I must say I was very impressed.
It's like being in the film in itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sets are fantastic. I think the immersion that you get from the detail of the costumes and the design process that's gone into it, you don't always see it on the TV screens, no matter how many times you've watched the 73 episodes. So you get all that detail and we bring people really close to it and tell the story of how the concepts came about, how the design process was put together, and then you get the scale of all the sets and actually how that was all manifest in production. And you know, you really get to feel like you're part of the Game of Thrones production crew. And
even people that wouldn't have watched it, I think, are going to love this.
Absolutely. I mean, it tells the story of the making of a TV show on a cinematic scale. So if you have any interest around that, you're going to be brought into that world, and you can't help but leave with your appetite whet to watch the show from the beginning if you've seen it before. And even if you haven't, you're going to be drawn into it to watch the 8 series.
So when people come up, when they come here, Brad, like how long does it take? Like what's the procedure? How does it work?
Well, we have visitors who are here for up to 5 hours and absorb absolutely every bit of detail. We advise our visitors that it takes about 2.5-3 hours to go around and see everything. So there's a lot to see and a lot of that detail to take in. But yeah, about 3 hours I think we recommend.
Fantastic. And you can kind of stay and sort of, you know, the one thing about this I like as well, it's self-guided and yet you have guides. We had a great guide today. She was fabulous and she like it's not on top of you, but it's like it's there if you're wondering.
Absolutely.
They're very aware of that, aren't they?
I mean, this is a world-class facility and a world-class attraction. So our staff exactly represent that. We've got quite a few who have been extras in Game of Thrones as well, so they've got their unique anecdotes from their time filming different scenes and you know, all that went into that and some of the behind the scenes stories that they can bring in. We have digital guides, so it allows that self-guided process as well and adds an extra layer of detail if that's what you're looking for. So kind of we cater for everybody in terms of how deeply they want to be engaged in this, which we find most people really want to be engaged deeply in it.
It's really accessible for people from all over Ireland, isn't it?
Absolutely, just off the A1. It couldn't be an easier route in. And we have parking nearby, and we shuttle everybody in, as you say, to that kind of Area 51 type zone. So they get that kind of real experience of coming into a studio facility and taking on that immersive experience that we were talking about earlier.
Absolutely fantastic what you've done here, Brad. So Really, really recommend it. Terrific. So can I go off now and have another few hours?
Absolutely. By all means, please do.
Thanks a million for chatting.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ed.
The world-class attraction is a must for both fans and visitors alike to see how skill and craftsmanship helped bring the show from script to screen. With my hiking boots on, I head off to start the St. Patrick's Camino across the stunning countryside from Armagh to medieval Downpatrick. Marie, this is great. So you're going to stamp my passport for me now, right?
I am indeed
and
going
I'm
to
going to
stamp
do.
it.
There's 10 stops along the way. Going to
That's
be
it.
132 kilometres.
So I hope you're in good shape and you're fit for this
Yeah.
walk.
Hiking
yes,
boots
yes,
ready
you're
and
well
everything.
kitted out for it. You've got your high vis
Fantastic.
jacket.
I love
you're
this
ready
idea.
to go.
It's great.
Yes, because this means that you can do a little bit of it and then you can do another. You can pause
Exactly.
and come back. So the fact that you've got your passport stamp, you'll want to come back again. So
Brilliant. That's
there
fab.
you go. There's
I've
your
done-
first stamp. So you've completed the first part of it.
Fantastic.
And
I thought you could only do the Camino in Spain or Portugal, you
Well,
know.
aren't we
I don't
lucky?
have to. It's great. I can do it here. I'm really excited, and the places along the way here look like they're going to be gorgeous parts. So I'm really
Yes.
looking forward to discovering them. And I'm going to meet you in Downpatrick, the
That's
seat,
right.
of course, the seat of St. Patrick, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Mairead.
wasn't it very appropriate that we start here with the Celtic aspect of it? This was like the Celtic area. And so when Patrick came, he was really working with the Celts rather than imposing his religion
Yes,
upon
yeah.
them. So it's very fitting that we start here at Owen Macha, Queen Macha's site.
Yeah,
And then
beautiful.
we move to where he actually started and where he died in Downpatrick. So it's like it's a very fitting walk. And in between, the parts that have been chosen for this St. Patrick's Way by Alan Graham,
Yeah.
who made it back in 2015, show off the best of Northern Ireland scenery.
So it's going to be a giant experience,
It's a
Mairead.
giant experience.
I continue on my Camino through the beautiful Northern Ireland countryside, making my way to the resting place of St. Patrick at Downpatrick.
Here in St. Patrick's Centre, we've got the permanent exhibition. It's the only one really dedicated to Patrick in the world. You come here, you walk to the exhibition, you hear Patrick's own words. That's his confession, the words that you're hearing, and that's going to inform you about what kind of place he was living in, what kind of person he was, what happened. That's really the beginning of history, if you like. When pilgrims arrive here in Downpatrick, you want to find out a little bit more about what's the connection with Patrick, why is this place so important?
Yeah.
And it is so important. It was like a Celtic place initially, but he came, he started the religion here, and you could just imagine the times back then. You're following in the footsteps of St. Patrick, but you're also looking at the beautiful mountains. People are coming, to be attuned to nature, to feel that the Camino is something special for them. The people that are there with them are terrific because they'll talk to them, you'll speak to strangers. There's a chemistry then that's there, and that's just something that happens on a Camino maybe that doesn't happen anywhere else.
Yeah.
And maybe it solves some issue for somebody who's come.
Well, Ed, you're very welcome. I believe you've completed the Camino, so well done. And obviously ending up in the right place here in Downpatrick. So outside the cathedral, as you probably know, is the burial place of St. Patrick. There's a large stone indicating that he was buried there, or at least his remains are thought to have been buried several centuries ago. There's a whole lot of sites associated with Patrick, not just here where he's buried. Outside the town, there's a church called Saul, which is where he first came in 432. On the way, as you've discovered, you come through the Mourne Mountains, and you're also beside the coast, so that there's quite a lot to do and see, and people will get a very warm welcome if they come to Downpatrick.
Wonderful. Well, Dean, it's been an absolute pleasure to meet you today, and thank you so much for chatting to us.
That's great. Good to have you with us.
I'm off to beautiful Derry to meet Lorcan from Far and Wild to enjoy a unique foodie city cycle tour.
Well, Ed, you're very welcome to Derry.
Wonderful, great to be here, great to be back, Lorcan.
Yeah, you're very welcome. It's one of those cities where it's almost you're not sure what you're going to call it because it's got so many names.
Legendary.
Legendary, exactly. But I suppose Dura and Dar from the Irish for oak probably is the foundation name.
Yeah.
And we think of that as a totem name because it puts in the forefront of your mind what pre-Christian societies would have worshipped and would have been really important to them, really because of the progeny. When we come back to the fact that we're doing a foodie cycle tour here, we're really looking at, well, what is coming out of the soil of this land that we can eat and that we can enjoy, is locally sourced, is environmentally friendly, is sustainable, all those kind of things when we get to the cafes and begin to sample that. But none of it could exist really without this origin species. And for us, the oak was central for Ireland as a whole, but for a whole city to be named after it, that is significant.
So today now on the foodie cycle tour, Lorcan, what am I going to do?
So first of all, we're going to get on our bikes, have a little bit of healthy exercise out in the beautiful fresh air and experience a bit of the city, some of the facts that you've been hearing already about what the progeny of the city, the natural heritage of the city. And then we're going to visit two kind of foodie outlets. We usually have about 5 up our sleeve and we pull them out depending on what's happening, who we're bringing. They've all got roadside access on our greenway system, which runs along either side of the river. And they're going to give you a taster of local progeny, ideally locally sourced, fresh food. The first one we're going to see is pike and palms, and we always look at the seafood element that they offer because we want to relate to the salmon. The source of our kind of food as the salmon in the river, then straight into your belly via their excellent cuisine. So that's the idea. Yeah. And then we go to a second one afterwards for a wee bit of postres or afters and look at some traditional baking in the cosy cottage.
Great, that sounds super. And it takes, I mean, for people that want to come up, it takes about 2 or 3 hours, is it?
We try to limit it to 2 hours because we tend to think we're going to get overweight if we go on any longer.
Very good.
It's definitely more eating than cycling, but the cycle is a great way to
We'll do the
around.
eating, and then if I want to later, I can do a bit of drinking. You see.
Yes, that's
some
it.
great bars here.
That's it. Yeah.
For people that like cycling, I mean, you're spoiled for here, but you have the greenways. How many kilometres do you have now?
Yeah, we've probably got about 40 or 50 kilometres of greenway.
Yeah, and so you can hire a bike from you guys, you can do a self-guided as well.
That's right,
which is brilliant.
Yeah, that's right. We'll give you a wee handy map, a digital or hard copy map of some of the interesting wee features you wouldn't otherwise hear about. Or you can come on a guided tour and you can sample the wares. A bit of the banter as well, do you know what I mean? That's what Derry is about. I know other cities in Ireland are like that, but you know, every tour is different. Depending on who's on front of house here, what the crack is, how many customers are out. And you can have a whale of a time. You can never get off the bus, you know.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I know it's famous for Derry girls, but I definitely felt like a Derry boy today. Anyway, the Derry boys were out cycling.
A classic line.
Thanks a million, Lorcan, for a really great day. I loved it.
Oh, great stuff.
Leaving Belfast behind, I head north to the seaside town of Portrush to make my mark with local artist Frankie Creeth.
Hey Ed, pleased to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too. How are you?
Doing well.
Love your place here. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm going to make my mark today,
You're going to make your mark, so follow me to the studio and we'll get you started.
This is gorgeous, Frankie. I love it. Your place is lovely.
Thank you.
So today you're going to teach me how to paint a little watercolour.
Yep, we're going to do an intuitive art piece inspired by our lovely Northantrim coast here.
Beautiful, yeah. So basically, Frankie, I mean, I've done a little bit of painting before. I'm not fabulous at it, but how long does the experience take?
The experience lasts 3.5 hours. A half hour you'll spend outside on site. And the whole idea is that you make your mark. So we use various art marks using different art materials. And then when you get inspired by what you see on our coastline, you'll use that as your visual research for the painting.
And we're lucky with the sun. The sun is shining
Sun's
today,
great.
Frankie. I'm looking forward to it. It's gorgeous out there.
Whenever you come into the workshop, we start off by looking at the most basic raw material, a pencil. Everybody's very familiar with that. So we use the pencil and we look at all the different types of marks that you can create using the lead pencil. And then we build on that. We then look at things like value, the lightness and darkness. We look at shape. Shape is really just enclosed boundaries. They can be organic, they can be structure. And then we look a bit about pattern, and that's really just repeated areas of the shape. So that's what we build on to create our experience in terms of making the mark. And when we cover all that, that gives us enough information that when we go on site, you then combine all the marks that you explored and experimented with a pencil, and then what you see, you then imagine how you can translate that through the various marks.
A lovely way to escape for a few hours and enjoy this beautiful scenery up here in Portrush.
The whole core of this making your mark experience is really about being mindful and being anchored in time and place, so that whenever you go away, you will hear really nice artwork and a precious memory of your time spent here on our Northampton coast.
Great, well I'm excited to try this now.
Brilliant.
So I'll get the sun cream on, Frankie,
That's
right?
it,
And let's
sun's
head
shining.
off. Great.
Right.
A bit of art therapy, Frankie, it's lovely.
Aye, there's a nice therapeutic element
There
to
is,
this,
you know, like you start with the
this
kind of a
workshop.
blank canvas, if you like, and then you just start to create. It's a wonderful process.
Aye. And just think about all the stuff we did in the studio, about the different ways you can use the pencil to create the different marks, about the different strengths, about the pressure on your wrist to get light and dark marks. You know, think about how you can really use that pencil, because all the different marks that you can create will inform and enhance and add to your drawing. And it will also give you a lot more information then when we go back to the studio. Lots more stuff to work on.
Yeah. So I'm just back from my wonderful experience making my mark, and what do you think, Frankie?
That is brilliant, Ed. That is brilliant.
For 3.5 hours, right?
I tell you, that's some
You're
piece
a
of
magic
work.
woman altogether. I love it.
That is brilliant.
Brilliant. Thanks a million. That was absolutely fabulous. I really enjoyed that. After making my mark in Portrush, I decide to head off to Belfast Lough to earn my sea legs with following seas. This is very cool.
Hello.
Bethany, how are you? Lovely to meet you.
You too,
How are
Ed.
things? Following seas.
Yes, welcome to Following Seas.
Brilliant.
Hope you're going to enjoy your day with us.
It's like the Caribbean here.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome on board. Take
Thanks
a
a
step
million.
up.
Brilliant. Here's our plan for today now. Where are we off to?
So hopefully set sail today and make our way around to the Bangor coastline, or potentially Carrickfergus. We'll see once we get out of the loch. But I think the weather's going to hold up for us today.
Brilliant.
It looks like a good day as well for
Fantastic. Great stuff. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
it. Yes, and we've got some snacks downstairs, so if you want to
Brilliant.
follow on through.
Wow, this is gorgeous. Very, very posh. I love it.
Hi Ed, been lovely to have you on board today. I think you've proven that you're a natural sailor. Hope you're enjoying yourself today.
Yeah, well, you know, we haven't got lost yet. It's great. It's been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, it's lovely. We offer people a champagne reception when they arrive, and we can go down below and have some nice snacks and things at any stage during the day. It's a little bit of a treat, a little bit of luxury. We have to spoil ourselves occasionally, you know, and take a wee day out.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of difficult years, so I think people deserve to treat themselves a little bit.
When people come on, what's the typical what's the most popular excursion or the most popular day trip?
A lot of people like to do the half day. Most people come to it not having any experience of sailing at all. They don't need any. They just rock up. We'll get them on the wheel very quickly, and we'll get them steering and pulling a few of the lines and doing some of the navigation, things like that, just for a bit of fun. You know, they don't need to have any experience at all. And most people get hooked very quickly, and the busyness of life and all those distractions just get left behind. Heave! See the sails coming out?
Yeah.
It's coming, it's coming. Heave!
like-
Full!
Christmas is coming.
Heave! Full! That's it, that's it.
Ready about?
Ready!
Lee-ho!
Hard over, quickly. Right, Alice, dump it. Woo!
Wow.
Take it easy, Alice.
Well done, nice job.
Wow, I like that.
Emily, Ed's got it.
Emily's gone for no snooze. And over here, just to the left, we have Carrickfergus. Of course, the famous song we all know, I Wish I Was in Carrickfergus.
The beauty about this is it's totally sustainable. We're not burning any fuel here at the minute. We're just sailing along here with the power of the waves. We're planning to sail to the Caribbean in November. We're not going to use any fuel. We're just going to sail the whole way there.
Beautiful.
It'll take us 3 weeks, but...
Have you any space left, have you?
You're welcome anytime, Ed. You've proven your qualities as a sailor already.
I have to check the bank account. And this is great because you also do trips like, I mean, you can take up to 10 people, including yourself. And
Yes, that's right.
And you were saying that you did some lovely trips. You sail along the Antrim coast, and you go up to Ballycastle, you can go up to Rathlin. There's loads of things you can do, isn't there?
There's so much around our coastline that people don't really see. You know, it looks so different from the sea as well.
Yeah.
You know, we went past Royal North Yacht Club and Ballyholme and Carrickfergus, and they just all look wildly different from the sea. It's gorgeous. So we're going to do a lap of Ireland in April and May and take little short legs and give people an opportunity just to do a short leg, maybe even around their own coastline, just to see it from the sea and say they've done it that way.
Wonderful. I mean, it's I suppose it's in line with the whole experience here. I mean, it's from 3 days to 3 weeks. You can have a giant experience.
Yes, absolutely. 3 hours to 3 weeks, you know.
Yeah.
Most people just come for a half day. They just go out for a wee sail around Belfast Loch and back in again. It's lovely.
Yeah. And it's fabulous. I mean, when we were coming out there, you turn the motor out and you turn the motor off, the sails go up.
That's my favourite bit, switching the engine off.
It's absolutely amazing. And then you feel the power of the wind takes you and off you go. It's an exhilarating, gorgeous feeling. To a drop of champagne and a bit of sailing, yeah. I can think of worse days.
Yes.
Join me next time when I discover the culinary delights of the unique island town of Enniskillen. I immerse myself in Iron Age life at the Navan Fort in County Armagh. I go far and wild in Derry on a foodie city cycle tour. I discover the 5,000-year-old ancient skills of dry stone walling surrounded by the majestic Mourne Mountains before finally singing for my supper in the magical Ring of Gullion. So join me as I continue my adventure embracing the giant spirit of Northern Ireland.